We don't have hills, we don't have rapids, we don't have falls for you to go over. So, see you here this summer. Take a float.
All right, and then just another thing on our Yawp River Park, the Braddock's Fish Club over the weekend had their fish day. A few hundred kids down there. Got to see some pictures. Absolutely gorgeous. Exactly what we want our parks to be used for. Kids were down there fishing, having fun, not on their cell phones. It was a perfect day. Just want to thank the Braddock Fish Club because those guys are amazing. They've put so many trout in on our river here. It's unbelievable. And that day they put 1,400 in, and they're totally into that, and we want to keep them going. And so, big thank you to them for all they do to help promote fun fishing here in our community. So, all right, over to you, Councilman Topper.
Health officer's report is in the packet. I mentioned it last month. I'll say it again. Make sure you're getting your grass cut. Tom is out and about. This is kind of peak grass growing season. Try to keep it down without having to have a visit from our code enforcement officer. New Haven hose report, 27 alarms for the month of April. Nothing really all that crazy. I do want to get back to one ordinance, and I have another one. We discussed this ordinance at the last meeting. That was the first reading. This is the second reading. Be it resolved by City Council of the City of Connellsville to adopt Bill number 1 of 2018, ordinance number 1533, an ordinance of the City of Connellsville, Fayette County, Pennsylvania, implementing a volunteer service credit program and establishing credits for city earned income tax or city real estate taxes, active volunteers, first responders, and establishing rules and procedures to claim such credit, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have to open up for now?
Yeah,
Break
open up now
for this, what we're doing now?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to open up for public comment. If anyone has anything to say for, against, anything about this ordinance.
Why don't you recap for them what it is?
This ordinance is a tax credit or property tax rebate, an earned income tax credit or property tax rebate for active volunteers in and around the City of Connellsville. If you live in the City of Connellsville, no matter what department you belong to, if you make over 50% of fire calls or 50% of fundraisers, you can receive a $200 earned income tax credit or 20% property tax rebate. There's a second level. If you complete certain amounts of training, you can get an additional $200 earned income tax credit. It is a difficult tax credit to receive. You have to be very active in your fire department, but that is the idea behind the ordinance, is to not only help departments get more members, but to keep them active. That's basically the sum of it.
Good.
Yep, so if there's no public comment, we'll just let the record show that
No
no
one-
public comment was offered in connection with this portion of the meeting.
Perfect. All right, City Clerk, take a vote. 1 second, please. Sorry.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, City Clerk, take a vote.
Councilman Keady?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tizan?
Yes.
Councilman Karpiak?
Yes.
Councilman Topper?
Abstain.
Mayor Lincoln?
Yes. Very excited for this. I don't want to hear any complaints, Chief, about all the work you're going to do now.
Yeah, I have been in contact with the surrounding fire departments that do have members in the City of Connellsville. I went to Connellsville Township's last meeting. I have spoke with South Connellsville's chief, and now that this is in place, they have 15 days to get their list together from 2017 and get that into City Hall. So the list has to be in by May 30th of this year.
Now, do their townships or boroughs have to adopt this same thing?
They do not.
They could.
Connellsville Township
They
is
could.
talking about it.
Have their own. You know, because
They will have
for their people to live in Connellsville Township, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They'll have their own. From what I understand, they want to pretty much model it just like ours to kind of cut down on confusion, so fire chiefs aren't having to keep 2 sets of records, you know. So I'll be in contact with them again and making sure we get this list down here to Shelley and Joyce so it can sit for 45 days.
Yeah.
And then we can start issuing certificates and rebates.
Cool, how it works.
Yeah, we'd be interested to see how that starts
See how it
off.
goes.
All right, got another one here. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Connellsville to introduce Bill number 2 of 2018, an ordinance of the City of Connellsville, Fayette County, Pennsylvania, adopting the provisions of the Neighborhood Blight Reclamation and Revitalization Act.
Bob. You're gonna have to react the levels and everything. We have to vote on that as well.
Going back to the last one.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because what you guys had just adopted the ordinance, and the ordinance then references the specific criteria for eligibility under that ordinance, and that criteria you guys can adopt by resolution. So if you ever wanted to tweak that and change that, you wouldn't have to pass a new ordinance and go through that whole process. You could just do it by resolution at any future meeting. So the resolution that is presented is adopting the actual specific criteria for people to be approved for that program.
You want me to revert back to it? Doesn't matter. Or do you want me to continue with this one and go back to this one?
It doesn't. You can do the one you're on right now.
All right,
That's
we'll
fine,
go-
as
we'll-
long as we go
sorry.
back to it. But we just have to make sure we cover both of them.
I'll read this again, and then we'll come back to this resolution. Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Connellsville to introduce Bill number 2 of 2018, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Connellsville, Fayette County, Pennsylvania, adopting the provisions of the Neighborhood Blight Reclamation and Revitalization Act 90 of 2010, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
City Clerk, take a vote.
How about conversation?
Okay.
I read this and I have some confusing, there's some confusing parts to it for me. Long time ago, we had a problem with a guy from WCVI, bought WCVI building, and he was out of state. And we weren't able to get a hold of this guy to rectify some stuff. And I was under the assumption that this bill here, this was going to pretty much be able to let us go after that. Reading this, I'm not sure that it's going to make any difference at all.
Which, are we still in a volunteer fire department?
No,
We're on Act 90 now.
This is the Act 90 ordinance.
Oh,
We're going to go back to the volunteer fire.
I'm sorry, Councilman. I'm like,
Give me some goofy looks, but I got a point
talking
here.
about. I thought we were going to, I was like, I don't understand what he's confused about, the volunteer service thing. I'm sorry. I apologize. Seriously, I'm telling you, like, my mind's being blown. I don't understand what this means. Sorry. I'm sorry.
But at any rate, when I printed this out and I read it, and it says that it has not been approved by any organization. I was wondering about that. And then I read further down in here that it's already a state law. So that kind of contradicts what they have on the opening page. I want to know, make sure it's going to work. Everything in here that you want to do, I want to do.